Hello, and welcome to Children in Our Lives, a program where children and adults speak about violence against children. In this program, we discuss how we relate with children, and today we shall be tackling the issue of community heroes. We shall feature a story of a child who was rescued from a violent situation by a community member, of course told by your favorite storyteller, Mr. Ranjezi Stephen. On the discussion panel, we shall be featuring Mr. Deepak Naka, co-director of Raising Voices, together with Mr. Bisaso Isaac, a community member. And finally, we shall feature Magada Semei, a 10-year-old child who has a story about his community hero. So let's begin with a story. And as you listen to it, think about the children you know. Think about the children in your community. Think about the number of times violence is inflicted on them. What are your thoughts?
You have come! Hey, you're welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, welcome to an evening of storytelling, and I'm very happy to see you. I'm very glad to see that our group continues. Some people have been coming regularly, others are new. Welcome. Now, tonight, I'm telling you another story. And of course, as usual, I'm not going to use the names of these children. I'm not going to use the names of their parents. For the security of those kids, you don't want to put them in trouble. Now, the story I'm telling, the boy is called, let me see which name to use. Okay, Masaba. Yes. Hey, Masaba has two friends. One called, let me see what to use. Let me use Chintu and Watea. And Masaba also has a sister called Nambi. So now it has no one tribe. Now, the boys, Chintu, Masaba, and who was the other one? Watea, thank you. Were always together playing. They loved football. They loved playing football. Now, one day, Chintu and Watea come to the playing area and Masaba doesn't turn up. They play around, go back. Day 2, Masaba doesn't turn up. Day 3, the boy doesn't come. And they are wondering what has happened. Day 4, Masaba is nowhere to be seen. And they wonder. So they say, let's go and find out from her father's home. The father's house was, you know, these small shops in the trading center where the front is a shop, behind is a room where that's where the people sleep. That's the kind of home. They came, reached, but they were fearing to ask. Then the father saw them and said, if you are not customers, go. The kids were scared, they took off. The following day they came back. Masaba was nowhere to be seen. This time they went, tiptoed, went behind the house and found the girl, Nambi, washing dishes. And they said, where is Masaba? As soon as they asked that question, Nambi started crying. They got anxious. What happened? Please tell us. Did anything happen to him? Did he die? Please tell us. And finally, Nambi told them that last day they had played football. When Masaba came home, the father was already very angry. And as soon as he came, he said, I have told you to stop going to play with those boys. Who got the boy down and beat and beat and beat. The boy cried, the father couldn't listen. He beat the boy until he started bleeding from the old scars. Now, after some time, the boy struggled and pulled himself off and was running. He took off. The stepmother, the stepmother, me all along was on the veranda preparing sambusa. And the boy was being beaten, she was there continuing preparing her sambusa. Now when the boy took off, she grabbed him. Said, you indisciplined boy, how can you run away from your father when your father is trying to discipline you? The father is disciplining you and you are running away. I will show you. I will show you how to be disciplined. You know what the woman did? She got a spoon, dipped it in the cooking oil which was boiling, and poured it on Masaba's leg. The poor boy could not run anymore. Went back into the house. And so all along when these boys were looking for him, he was in the house. They said, can we see him? The girl said, no, you can't. They went. They tried to tell people. First they told their grandfather, and the grandfather said, you children, stop interfering in other people's affairs. Don't go to other homes to come here and bring rumors. They passed the message around, but nobody took any action. So, one day, when these boys were playing, they saw the maternal uncle of Chintu. Let's give him the name Michael. They called him Uncle Michael. They knew Uncle Michael was very serious. Uncle Michael was a good man, but he was no nonsense. So they went and said, Uncle Michael, our friend is in that house. We have been told this and this and this. As soon as they finished the story, Uncle Michael took off. He went to the house. This time, it was the stepmother in the shop. And Uncle Michael said, I would like to see this boy, Masaba. The woman said, hey, Masaba is not here. She went to see her aunt 2 weeks ago. He is not here. Now, at first, Uncle Michael said, maybe the woman is right. Maybe these boys are lying. Maybe they are overreacting. But he heard a voice from the inner room. When Uncle Michael heard that voice, he passed the woman, went into the room. What did he find there? Masaba rotting. The wound was stinking, oozing. The boy was lying on a small mat in horrible pain. Uncle Michael stormed out of the room, went, brought his car and parked it on the door, went in, picked Masaba and carried him out. The moment he stepped out with the boy, the neighboring people saw the wound. Everybody came and they were very angry. But they had heard the story, had done nothing. But this time when they saw the boy being brought out, they were really infuriated. As Uncle Michael was putting the boy in the car, they went into the shop, got the woman, and they started slapping her. But now, Uncle Michael was concerned. He said, these people will definitely kill this woman. I don't want a dead body here. So he left the boy in the car, ran back into the house, pulled her out of the crowd which wanted to lynch her, and took her into the car. As he was driving, Uncle Michael was worried. He was worried about the boy because the wound was so badly infected. He was very angry with the woman, but he was also worried because he knew that as he was going away, people were so charged, now they would go and look for the man. And they would definitely not spare him. He would not survive. But as he was driving, as he was cooling his nerves down, he looked in his driving mirror. and saw this woman seated in the back of the car. And he turned round and asked her, how could you do such a thing to a child? And that's the question I would like to end this story with. How can anybody, sane with the normal brain, how can anybody do such a thing to a child? How could anyone allow him or herself to do such a thing? And how can we as people allow such things to go on? That's how I would like to end today's story. Yeah.
Here with me now I have Mr. Deepak Naka from Raising Voices and Mr. Bisaso Isaac, a community member. Good to have you on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. Deepak, can I ask you, in your perspective, what is a community hero?
Community heroes are people who take action. You know, they are ordinary people who do extraordinary things in their day-to-day life. So there are people like you, there are people like me, there are people like Isaac. Isaac is one of them, and you will hear his story. But there are people in their day-to-day life, when they see an injustice, they say this is not right, and they take action. That's what we mean by community hero.
Do you feel that we have a lot of community heroes in Uganda?
We do. In our day-to-day work, we often meet people who go out of their way, people who don't even have that much money, but take in children or put themselves at risk, people who take action simply because in their heart they feel that what is happening to the child is not right. And that's why, in a way, we have to celebrate these people, because on the one hand, they are unusual people, but there are many Ugandans who are community heroes. And today we want to reach out to more of them.
Now, Bisaso, apparently you're one of those people who decided to take action. You helped out a child who was experiencing violence. Now, what inspired you to take that step?
Well, it's not extraordinary, as you have said, but I was touched. I was concerned because I'm a community member where such acts happened, you see. And as you know the situation now in Uganda, we have to help each other. And by the way, I was also a child. I was helped by others who are not relatives, who are not friends, but they are other people. They are community members. They helped me.
As a child?
When I was still a child. So I was also forced to help others. I think it's not extraordinary because
something everyone should do.
Of course, everyone should help each other. We should help. On my side, I don't feel good when others are suffering. Yeah, that's my nature.
Okay, you said you experienced this as a child. What do you mean? What happened to you?
You know, when I was still young, my dad had two families. So for us, he left us there with our mom. So other people came in to help us. So especially me, because I was very stubborn. I was so stubborn. So they used to come for me. They came in, they told me, don't do this. Even there outside, they used to guide me. So from there, I developed that heart of helping others.
That is inspiring. Even though you don't think it's much, it is inspiring. Yeah. Back to you. Listening to Masaba's story, it's amazing that so many people knew what was going on, but no one did anything until Uncle Michael came. Why do you think that's the case?
And that's what makes somebody like Isaac so extraordinary. That, you know, lots of people see it happening, but very few people have the courage to act. And they feel, and often people don't act, not because they are bad people, but they feel that I shouldn't interfere with other people's affairs.
None of my business.
None of my business. You know, I don't want to get into trouble, or I don't want to cause unnecessary trouble. Maybe he's just disciplining his child. But what I think is that time has come when we should have people speaking out in the community when they see a child being mistreated. Because if we don't speak out, then things will continue. In Isaac's case, it was happening. It was happening over a period of time. People knew about it. But it took somebody as courageous as Isaac to say, this is not right, and something needs to change.
Now, still regarding the same story, we saw children actually go out of their way to help their friends. What do you think about that? Because that's not a very common thing.
No, actually the perception is that that is not a very common thing. But at our office, we often get children coming to us and saying that, this is happening to my friend.
Really?
Or my friend is living under the bridge over there and nobody's feeding him. Or that he is going through a hard time and he needs help. So children are in fact heroes in a way in which we often don't recognize. Yeah? And in this case as well as in other cases, it's the children, the friends who are worried about what is happening to my friend. Often they don't know what to do, but they are very strategic, that they are often able to identify that, if I go to that person, nothing will happen. But if I go to this person, something might happen. So children should not be underestimated in their capacity to speak out. Yeah?
Okay.
It's just that they can't do anything against an adult in a way in which an adult can act.
Bisaso, what advice do you give to other people who are listening right now?
I would advise women especially to come out, speak out, to go on outside there, to talk to other people, what happened there in their family or inside their house. So I would advise them, they should speak out to help others or to help the children who are at home. Yeah.
And apart from the women, for example, like in your case, just neighbors, other people in the community, what do you have to say to them?
Yeah, neighbors and the other communities, they should not also hesitate. You see, in such an incident, we should also be in the same caliber. They should feel in other people's shoes. You see, they should not hesitate at all. Yeah, that's my advice.
So, at the end of the day, you feel it's everyone's responsibility to protect our children, even if they're not your own. Yes.
Yeah. And let me just add to what Isaac is saying, that the story we saw earlier in the program is based on Isaac's intervention. Yeah? That this is what happened, and Isaac was one of the heroes who intervened in that story. On a day-to-day basis, as a neighbor, as a friend, as a stepmother, as a father, as a teacher, when you see a child being mistreated, not even in an extreme way, but in a way in which, say, their parents are abusing him or shouting at him all the time or beating him all the time, the time for intervention is early. So the earlier you intervene, the better the outcome at the end of the day. So don't wait for the case to become an extreme case before you take action. Take action earlier on. And taking action doesn't mean reporting to the police or anything like that. Get help from religious leaders in your community. Get help from LCs in your community. Get help from an elder who is respected in your community. Get help from other people. And talk to these parents, because often we find that parents are not bad people. They are not terrible people that they want to torture their children. Often they just don't know, and so they are reacting to the children. So when somebody talks with them, then you have a chance of preventing something from escalating into something big. So there are many heroes out there, and I want to say to you that you can be one of them. You don't have to wait for something to go to extreme. Act early. And if you help a child, you are helping a lot of people who will come in contact with that child. So that's what I would want to say.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for that. In connection with today's topic, we meet Magado Semei, 10 years old, who has a story to tell about his community hero. You may think that heroes are far away from your community, but after hearing his story, you might just change your mind. Today we travel to Bamba, Wakiso district, to meet Magada Semei, 10 years old. In this house, he was tortured by his father and his stepmother, and he was only saved by a community member.
It was Sunday in the late evening. I came back home early, So I started to let alone when I was communicating or chatting with community members. Then I got rumors that down there is a kid who is being tortured. So when I reached there, I found the stepmother at home. The father wasn't around. I talked to her and she was dodging my information, you see. Then I forced it. And by then I had a cry inside the house. Kumbe, the boy was crying, He was hearing out of pain. Then that cry he made, in fact, saved him because I forced the lady to enter in the house. The boy was, in fact, in critical condition. Maggots were coming out of the wounds. Seriously speaking, you can even ask some members of the community because they are there. Maggots were coming out of the wounds. I was forced even to call the chairperson of the village. Then we found another resistance because the villagers also came in. They wanted to intervene. They wanted even to beat the lady. We found out of the resistance there. Then the chairman advised us to take the boy plus the madam or the stepmother to the police. When we reached there, they advised us to take the boy first at Molago. Then I drove direct to Molago. But when I reached there, I was looking around for any help from different people. From there, I got a call. In fact, I didn't know who took this information to raising voices because I was at home. I got a call from Raising Voices. There's a red code process. So she introduced herself to me. So when I reached there, I found her. Anyway, they gave us a lot of help. So now things are, he's coming in proper way now. Tunule eno. Bwabagamba nti thank you gamba kale nyabo. Gamba nyo.
You see, these things will keep happening if we do not have community heroes like Bisaso. Remember, heroes are ordinary people who do extraordinary things. They speak out when others remain silent. They act when others hesitate. They show by example that it is possible to be different. So think about it. Let's meet next week, same time, when we discuss the benefits of being nonviolent. Bye-bye.